Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. My name is Gub, and this is my channel. Welcome to the revision of my Eggman Rework. The previous iterations were kind of quiet, and it just kind of ruined the watching experience for most people. The audio was also glitchy and laggy and buggy, and I do not like that. I want good quality content for you guys. I was rushing. I'm sorry. I'm sorry about that profusely. In any case, there was also just some things in there I kind of wanted to retread on and fix up, change a little bit, but not too much, not to the point where it's going to be a completely new thing. It's basically the same thing. So if you watched that previous video and actually got all the information from it, there may be slight deviations, but for the most part, it's probably just going to be roughly the same thing. So if you saw that, you don't feel like you need to watch this one, though there will be visuals and chapters if this is something you want to watch again, just to get more information on it, perhaps see if anything changed of a particular aspect of the moveset you liked. But in any case, yeah. Without further delay, let's hop into the rework. Eggman will have 3 abilities and 3 passives. My goal is, of course, to change Eggman from a survivalist into a character that forces you to plan ahead and formulate a master plan. The true Eggman experience, if you will. We'll start with his 3 passes, of course. First, with the thing that replaces his double jump, a charge jump. An ability that allows you to jump up to 5 times higher than you traditionally would, simply by holding the space key. Of course, clicking it like normal will cause you to do a normal jump, but holding it for 1 second causes you to go twice as high. Holding it for 3 seconds makes you go 3 times as high, and holding it for 5 seconds makes you go 5 times higher than your average jump height. This process is split into 3 sections and slows you down significantly while charging. One takes a second to charge, and it takes 2 seconds, and the final takes 3 seconds. 3 more seconds on top of that for a total of 5 seconds. If held for a second, you'll jump twice as high. We already did this. Sorry, I'm reading a script right now. The amount of fuel you have and what level it's charged to is displayed as a bar on the left side of your screen. It takes 10 seconds to regain the first section, 15 to regain the second, and 20 to regain the third. That means in order to do 2 5-second long charges in a row, you have to wait 45 seconds between each. You only, however, need 1 section to charge. As such, you're able to do a twice as high jump after the first section is filled, regardless of if you have the other 2 filled. However, after each jump, there is going to be a cooldown period or an overheat period that prevents you from doing it at all, regardless of how much fuel you have. So if you manage to do a 1 second long jump, you will have to wait 10 seconds before you can do another jump. If you do a 3-second jump, you have to wait 15 seconds before you can do another jump, regardless of what level you want to charge it to. And for a full 5 seconds, you have to wait 20 seconds after the jump. This is simply to prevent you from spamming back-to-back 1-second jumps primarily. That's primarily the point of this. And I believe that is everything for the charge jump. So next up, we have Metal Support, which works exactly like how it does currently. For now, once I get to Metal Sonic's rework, it will probably be changed up significantly with new aspects and new things. I want all of the Metal Sonic or metal characters in general for these concepts to be all kind of in one tightly knit community, such as like Eggman is the ringmaster, and then you'd have Tails Doll as like a scout, Metal Knuckles as a staller, and Metal Sonic as kind of a just offense. That's kind of my idea. Of course, that is roughly in stone. Well, not roughly in stone. That is barely made. That's barely good. There will be more work to be done on those guys, but in general, Metal Support currently works exactly the same for now. Thirdly, he has a new passive called Empire. This allows him to know the location of all Badniks at all times. This ability would be shared by any playable Badnik, Metal Sonic and Vanilla, but Tails Doll and Metal Knuckles in those individual concepts. Yes, this ability includes Metal Sonic in it, and the other 2 in my concepts, though he is only pinged to Eggman every 5 seconds. Same goes with TD and Metal Knuckles. However, all of them do not know what Eggman himself is. Only Eggman is aware of where they are, and they know where each other are, but none of them know where Eggman is at all times. Only he knows where they are. He also knows where every Badnik is, of course, So Motobugs, Grabbers, Crabmeats, Buzzbombers, or his Chompers, the fish. He knows who they are. We'll get to them in a bit, but first we're going to go on to his first ability, Zapper. Similarly to most iterations of Eggman and other ASIM games like TD, he pulls out a Zapper gun. After charging for roughly 2.5 seconds, roughly of course because this may change in the future, he is able to shoot out a hit-scan beam of electricity. This move does not slow Eggman down while charging and causes him to face the direction he is aiming. Similarly to something like Amy's hammer throw. This ability has 3 uses: zapping a regular Badnik, zapping a playable Badnik, and zapping the EXE. We'll talk about the non-playable Badniks in a bit, but for now we'll talk about the EXE and playable Badniks. Zapping the EXE will prevent them from attacking and slows them down for roughly 1.5 seconds, and puts the ability on a 20-second cooldown. Zapping Metal Sonic will overclock him, healing him by 25 HP and giving him 25 temporary HP. The healing is able to get Metal Sonic back up to his theoretical maximum of 175 HP that he originally starts the round with. When overclocked, his destructive charge is significantly faster and lasts for longer. It also deals more damage to Fleetway. This of course comes at the cost of Metal Sonic draining a significant lot of his HP. The overclock period remains for as long as Metal Sonic has bonus health, regardless of how much is left. It takes 25 seconds to fully deplete, 1 health a second. This puts the ability on a 30-second cooldown, while zapping a regular Badnik puts the ability on a 25-second cooldown. I talked about the other 2 Badniks, aka Tails Doll and Metal Knuckles, in their own separate rework video, with a revised version of what will happen to Metal Sonic's overclocked variation in that video as well, once we get to it. But for now, this is his vanilla change. The second ability is Energy Shield, which works exactly the same as it does in his regular kit. It just fits really well here in a character that kind of has to buy time for himself to create an empire. Though it takes only 25 seconds... Oh no, sorry, that's the wrong thing. I followed the wrong 25 in my script. Though the cooldown would be 25 if hit and 30 if not hit, to prevent being punished for actually using the ability as you're supposed to. So now if the EXE foresees it, the ability is on a longer cooldown, instead of the Eggman just being able to use it whenever to get free time. The EXE knows it's coming and doesn't hit. They are not punished with a higher cooldown, or they're punished with a higher cooldown because they did not hit it. So you have to be more tricky with it. But I really like that, so I think it's going to be fine. His third ability is Switch. Switches his first 2 abilities into Construct and Deconstruct, respectively. Construct allows him to produce Badniks, a numerous yet minor annoyance, and Deconstruct allows him to break them remotely, refunding the materials without needing to go to the demolition site to reclaim them later. Deconstruction can only be done if the EXE is not within the Badnik's range of where it would be active, or within a particular set range. This is just so that you can't destroy the Badnik and refund the parts as soon as you know, particularly for the ranged ones, that he's getting close to them. This ability can be done from anywhere. Eggman can do it from anywhere. Then of course, the only way it can be stopped is if the EXE is near them. He gets a vast selection of Badniks to choose from. 2 Motobugs, 3 Grabbers, 2 Crabmeats, 1 Buzzbomber, and 3 Chompers. Sounds like a lot, right? Correct. That's the point. Though all of them are only minor annoyances, there is a lot scattered around the map, keeping constant pressure on the EXE. Once constructed, the Motobug will set a point where it was built. Eggman can then set another point by clicking on the ground in the area the Motobug can get to in a straight line. After being set, it will move between the original set point of its construction and the one Eggman set, going back and forth until the EXE steps within a particular range of the Motobug itself. If spotted, the Motobug will charge at the EXE, ramming into them and dragging them in the direction it was heading. This goes on for roughly 3 seconds or until the EXE hits a wall. It will then explode, not stunning the EXE, but slowing them down for roughly 1.5 to a second. But it will not prevent M1s. It is capable of turning, though its turning radius is extremely small, and if it misses the charge completely and would have to go and turn 360 degrees to get back to the executioner, it will simply explode. The grabber is attached to the closest ceiling, including invisible ones like on Not Perfect. Once the EXE walks under it, it will quickly drop down, attempting to grab them. The further up the grabber is, the harder the EXE is to grab given travel distance. But if grabbed, the EXE will be pulled back up and held at the top for a second. It will then explode, releasing the EXE back to the ground. It should be noted that the higher up the grabber is, the harder it is to hit, but also the longer the EXE is held there for, given the fact that the grabber goes down and grabs them and then quickly begins to retract. The quicker it would reach its original spot, dropping point, it would release after 1 second, but because it has that travel distance of having to go back up to it, that adds onto the time that the EXE is actually captured. So the higher up it is, the more value you can theoretically get out of it. If it misses, it'll simply retract itself unless hit and destroyed. Crabmeats act basically exactly like the turrets from TD, slowing the EXE down while within their range. This does stack with one another, given the fact that you have two, though it's probably better to spread them apart and divide and conquer. The Buzzbomber, a side grade that only gives you one of them that fires slower, for the cost that it allows you to stun the EXE for about a second. It floats just in the air, requiring the EXE to jump to reach it. This could be done with any of them easily. One hit will still break it. After a short windup, it will release a large, slow-moving projectile. If it hits the EXE, it will knock them back a little bit and stun them for a second. It has a cooldown of roughly 3 seconds between each shot, so it can be retaliated against. After 3 shots, it will break regardless of if the EXE is near it, or if they hit or missed. Finally, we have the Chompers. If placed on land, they work similarly to bear traps, snapping onto the EXE's leg and slowing them for roughly 3 seconds. That's the time it remains on the EXE before falling off and popping. This pop does not, it doesn't stun the EXE like all the other ones, it just pops. If placed in water, however, it will do the exact same thing of slowing, though it will actively swim towards the EXE once they step within a particular range around the Chomper. This is only really possible on Green Hill, though arguments could be made for this being possible on Mystic Caves in that tiny little water section, though I feel like that's very unlikely given the fact that that's not really water and it's just a decal. But hey, whatever fits best. It should be noted that all slownesses from the Badniks do not prevent M1s, and only slow. This is simply to not make the experience miserable for the Executioner. The slowness is also weaker compared to Silver's Rock Throw, so you don't feel like you're losing too much ground, but you're still losing ground. We really only have a few things left to talk about here, so I think it's time we just move on. When destroyed, a Badnik drops 3 parts. Each of these parts are pinged to Eggman every 3 seconds like Metal Sonic in his Empire passive. He has to collect each of these 3 parts around the area it was destroyed before he's able to rebuild it. This prevents him from immediately rebuilding the Badnik and prevents constant pressure to that extreme. Instead, he'd have to actually go to the site of destruction and reclaim these parts. He can also rebuild Metal Sonic 1 time per match, going to the point of his destruction and subsequent explosion, and collecting 5 parts around that area. After collected, and repaired after 15 seconds of build time, his HP will be capped to 75 and his self-repair, of course this is only his vanilla version, will be replaced with self-destruct. Something akin to this will be the case inside of my rework, though it won't be like this exactly. However, he will still get a self-destruct. Most Badniks take roughly 5 seconds to make, but as mentioned, Metal Sonic takes 15. I do not know if Tails Doll and Metal Knuckles can be rebuilt. I'm thinking about that. That is actively going through my brain. Not right now, but, while I'm thinking about that potential video. And I don't know. Of course, if that's the case in the video, there will be nerfs to them during their second life. But we'll just have to see. Finally, the last thing we have to talk about in a pretty short section here, we have the overclocking of the regular Badniks here. The Motobugs, Chompers, whilst in the water, and Grabbers all move faster, but the Motobugs and Chompers also have a slightly bigger detection range, allowing them to see the EXE from a bit further away. The Grabbers also get something like this, and now will drop preemptively, instead of just dropping when walked under. They'll instead begin to drop the moment they step within a range as a kind of prediction instead. Though, of course, this is rather, you know, weak. And if the Grabbers are too weak naturally, this could also be something we add to them. This just kind of intensifies it. It makes them predict for more. In any case, Crabmeats and the Buzzbombers simply shoot faster. The Crabmeats working exactly like the overclocked version of TD's turrets. And the Buzzbomber shooting every 2 seconds instead of 3 seconds. Nothing has changed about the stun though. It still only can fire 3 shots before immediately breaking, etc, etc. The Chompers also remain on the EXE for longer, 5 seconds instead of the traditional 3 seconds. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was the revised version of my Eggman rework. I, again, apologize for how bad my content has been up to this point. I honestly have no idea what I'm doing, given the fact that I'm a new YouTuber. I don't plan on doing this for a job. I'm just doing this for fun, to get my ideas out there. But of course, I still want to make the best content I physically and possibly can. Thank you if you've watched any of my other videos for sticking by me up to this point. And honestly, I'm surprised. The fact that my previous Eggman rework, or the previous iteration, got over 100 views genuinely baffled me. I did not think that was going to happen. At maximum, I thought the video was going to get like 50 views, and then I would have been buried under all these larger content creators immediately. But the fact that there were people who watched it tells me that people want to see this kind of stuff, or the fact that people even clicked on it. So of course, I want to make the best content I can, so that you guys can watch it and have a good time, and so that my ideas can get out there, because I really have a lot of them. I really want to get them out of there. And so yeah, I'm very excited for things that are coming. But, of course, I'm not going to give up on this. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep rolling. I'm going to keep grooving. Before I hop off for today and work on the rest of this video, because I still got to edit it, add visuals, all that stuff, I'm holding myself responsible this time. Those will be in the final cut. I promise. Please. In any case, there's a poll up in my posts. If you go to my channel, there's a posts tab in the, like, videos, that homepage. There's posts. The third one down, potentially fourth if I post another one. There's a poll with 4 different ones there. If you're interested in this content and want to help me decide which is the next characters I look at after I redo the Sonic rework, or not Sonic rework, but the Sonic Heroes rework video, because I'm going to work on that after this one gets out. If you want to help choose the next one I look at as completely unique, you can go there, you can vote. The day after, at 11:30 a.m., I post the Sonic rework, or the Sonic Heroes rework revised. The poll will be ended, and whatever has the most amount of votes will be the next one. They look a little vague, but if you check the comments under that poll, there is what they actually truly are, what characters they are. So choose wisely and choose safely if you actually do decide to do that. I don't think anyone will actually put in the time to do that, but yeah. If you watched this far, I assume you like what you saw here. I'm not going to sit here and tell you to subscribe or anything. Just, thank you. Genuinely thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for getting this far in this video. I know my voice is probably not the best to listen to, given the fact I have a lisp and 2 big chunks of plastic in my mouth, but thank you, genuinely. Of course, if there is any sort of developer that is working on a Sonic ASIM game for whatever reason that sees this content and for some reason decides that they like it enough to put it in their game, feel free. This goes for all of my other concepts in the future. If you like it, feel free to add it as long as I get some form of credit. It doesn't have to be something big. It can literally just be a tiny little text box that said Eggman concept or blank concept by Gub or Gutmaster09. That's it. Of course, it's probably not going to happen. I'm not expecting it to happen. Just in case somebody does, it's there. Anyway, thank you for watching. Have a fantastic day/night. And remember, you can always improve. No matter how far down this hole of life you may seem, you can still always bring yourself back up and do new things. The only thing holding you back is yourself. So why not get up and try something new today? Anyway, this has been Gub, signing off. Heyo, it's me, Gub. This is recorded like a week or two after I recorded that audio for the actual video itself. I'm sorry this video took so long to get out. I have like 4 more minutes. I gotta fill in here with a little bit of exposition and talking while the rest of this gameplay goes out, because I don't want to end it like halfway in a round like I did in one of my previous videos, because that's just lame. That's lazy. That's boring shenanigans. So thank you for watching. As I probably said, I don't remember exactly what I said in my ending, but yeah. I'm adding this on to the end here, as it's something I talked about in my shenanigans video, but only 15 people saw that. I don't know how many people will see this. I'm assuming more, because people care about this more than random shenanigans, of course. They got as many shenanigans as they want already from other channels. But yeah, a couple big things I want to kind of talk about here. For starters, I'm going to be canceling the polls for a while. I don't remember if I talked about polls in this video. I probably did. Ignore that. There will be no poll. I'll also probably be releasing a post with it saying, hey, no poll. I'm just going to be doing the Metal Sonic, Metal Knuckles, and Tails doll video next. And I apologize for that. A couple other real quick things. I still have so much time I have to pad out here. I'm sorry. Hey, I had a random idea earlier yesterday at the time of recording this. This is the 2nd day of July. I believe it was yesterday. Where an ASIM game. Oh boy. Of course I said I'm gonna, talk about this more in one of my posts after the next rework after this one, but I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about it now. Now, I have no game making experience, modeling experience, or anything of that sort, so do not expect this to be fast and out for the public's eye very quickly, because that's not going to be happening, unfortunately. As much as I'd love to magically wave my hands and produce a wonderful game for you all to just generally enjoy, I'm not a magical wizard, unfortunately. So, yeah. But you have games out there right now, ASIM games, right? And I feel like there's like different categories you could put them in. Some of them are stamina based, which are my least favorite. Looking at Forsaken, I don't like Forsaken very much, but that's just me. If you like it, you like it. I don't particularly care. I don't associate with the game anymore. And then you have like ability games like Outcome Memories, where you use abilities to survive primarily because there's no stamina. I love that. Outcome Memories having no stamina was generally one of my favorite parts about the game, and it still is, because I don't have to micromanage something. Well, I still have to micromanage my, abilities, but I don't have to worry about stamina on top of all of that. But mine's going to be kind of mobility based, where there's going to be different types of like mobility options. Like Sonic, for example, of course, you could hit like control and then spam space a few times to do a spin dash. Probably when it's stunned, it'd probably like knock the executioner back a little bit, or the EXE back a little bit, and then just to get distance with space. And this could also be done by the executioner, so it's kind of a two-way streak. But you could also do like a bounce if you click control while jumping or in the air. Like in... What games have the bounce? I don't know. But Sonic does bounce. Like, you could do it 3 times to get height. I think I'm running out of time here. Whoopsies. Didn't think this would go so fast. But yeah, mobility-based. There will still be abilities. No, did I say... I said mobility, right? I'm not going insane. It's mobility-based, but there will be abilities, of course. There has to be abilities to make it an actually interesting experience, rather than just doing those things. There'd be, like, loops, grind rails, springs, of course. I don't think you can make one without springs. Every Sonic ASIM has to have springs. It's the way you get height. Bouncers, those kind of things. Yeah, just to kind of make it an experience. I trap the original idea of Sonic as a whole being a very mobile game, or a game that's very mobility based, into like an ASIM. Anyway, yeah, I think that's the end of this rant. I don't know, I'm pretty sure the video probably is over by now. I'm sorry that this took so long. Have a great day and or night. Ta-ta!